Hello, how you doing
Hey,
there? That's Lisa. Lisa, I'm glad you is a part of the hour,
yes.
the uncut news, largest celebrity. Things is working for the best.
Okay.
So how you coming along? Where you located at, my sister?
In the Milford Mill area.
Oh, you came back.
Yeah, to that house that you guys came over. You and Lisa McKenzie. That's where I'm at.
Okay, wonderful. So you came on back in town. As you know, we having some. I'm trying to get straight. One phone went down and the other one came up, so just bear with me. While we on here with Lisa Lee in the Milford Mill area. What we're gonna be doing, we're gonna be talking about state to state. What's going on in the state of what you in? Like in Maryland. What's happening in Maryland? What's going on in Milford Mill? And what's going on in Chicago? So once again, we're gonna have people coming in all over the globe. As you know, I'm Larry, the celebrity cab driver, taxi talk radio, uncut news, the love doctor. Wear many hats. So let's get it started here tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So, you know, someone was talking about what happened in Baltimore a couple of days ago, allegedly, which I want to bring to the table. What possible can happen in Baltimore at nursing homes, funeral homes. Some people is in nursing homes and funeral homes with the COVID. Now, Lisa, did you hear what happened or allegedly supposed to happen in Baltimore at a funeral home?
No.
Someone put out there allegedly saying that 70 bodies was found on the floor in a funeral home. Couldn't give me no names of it or not. So if you didn't hear about it, say it's not so.
I didn't hear about that. And I stay up on current events.
Right, right. So say it's not so.
I know that's terrible.
Now, did you hear about allegedly that a body was found on Liberty Road in St. Luke's at the bus stop?
I heard it through you and you're live.
Okay, okay. I had a passenger in my taxi,
Yeah, I saw that.
and he said that that happened. So it's allegedly, but other people said they saw the police down there and they wondered what happened. I'm
Mhm.
just saying what's going on in our neighborhood.
Well, I thought you was getting more information. You could have contacted me. I could have got more information if I'd
Hmm.
have known this was something we were going to talk about.
Right. Well, I just throw it out there so you can talk about what's going on in your state. You can even talk about what's going on where you left, North
Yeah,
Carolina
yeah, yeah.
or Maryland.
I'll talk about what's going on in North Carolina where I left.
Right.
I was in Charlotte and I was living on the outskirts of Charlotte.
Hmm.
But when Trump was in office, people tend to have shown who they were in terms of being racist, and it got worse and worse and worse. Um, yeah, I worked for the chief judges throughout North Carolina,
Hmm.
and I saw it firsthand the racism towards African Americans. I experienced it, um, you know, firsthand. I worked in my main office was in a county called Stanley County, which is one of the most racist counties in the state of North Carolina.
Wow.
And they only had four black people working in that. The head of security, the sheriff,
Hmm.
um, a clerk, myself, and the state's attorney. So, you know, don't be black and have an education.
Right.
Even though the job requires you to have that education, but don't tell nobody. And that's what I was told. Don't tell
Wait
nobody
a minute. Don't tell nobody what.
that you have a master's degree.
Oh, you're not supposed to let nobody know that?
No, that's what my supervisor said because she was my supervisor and she only had a high school diploma. So don't
Wait a
tell
minute.
no more people that you got a master's degree.
So you could be overqualified, right?
No, I was qualified. The position, hey Joy, the position required you to have a master's degree. But
And
I
you mean to
was,
tell me your supervisor only had a high school diploma?
yes.
So what happened?
So she just kept saying different things towards me that were discriminatory. And I documented it for a whole year. And then when I wrote it up, let's say I wrote it up, they received it on March the 11th. March the 12th, I was fired.
Oh, come on.
Wasn't even an investigation, but it's okay. It's
Right.
okay. She told me things like, yeah, when we take on Montgomery County, which was a predominantly black county, they're going to think you're a drug dealer. I said, no, they're going to know I'm a hell of a mediator. That's what they're going to know.
Right.
And she referenced that because I have a very expensive vehicle. And I knew where it all came from because I had just got the vehicle. But it didn't come from working there because I wasn't making a lot of money there. It just, there was life before I moved to North Carolina.
Right.
I had my own business. So it was just, I was just tired of it. I mean, I worked part-time for American Airlines. Um, the break rooms are segregated. The white people sit over here, the Spanish people sit over here, the black people sit over here. And it's not
Mm,
the company, it's the people.
right.
It just
So
was
you saying
unreal.
the people chose to do this?
Yes, the people chose to do that. It wasn't the company. The company didn't require you to sit here if you were this or that. And
Hmm.
it's unfortunate, but that's just a state that a lot of people from up north are like, oh, yeah, I want to move to Charlotte. No, the hell you don't.
Hmm.
You don't want to move there.
Wow.
I mean, it's
Did not
bad
know
enough you're not paid what you're worth.
that. Hmm.
Um, that's an insult in itself. But then you end up working for somebody or trying to get a job because your experience is far greater because you might have come from a, a, a higher quality of courts, or you might have came from the government up
Hmm.
north in DC or Maryland or New York. And then you go down there. If you got to work, baby, that's not the place you want to go because you will not get a job. You'd be lucky you go down there and make 14, $15 an hour.
Charlotte, North Carolina. So,
Mecklenburg County, Stanley County, all those different counties. Racism in America, absolutely, Dion.
so you mean to tell me? So then, tell us about this. You was the only Black African American in that field, in that position, or was
Yes.
other people?
Out of the whole state of North Carolina, it was three black people that got hired with me. They end up firing one um, before she could even go into becoming a full-fledged mediator.
Turn it down. Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
but all together, let's say once they fired that young lady, it was you're looking at about three African Americans that three, four, about 4 or 5 African Americans that were mediators out of a total of 60.
wait a minute. 3 African Americans out of 60.
Yes. No, five, about five out of 60. that were African American.
And
Everybody
so
else was white.
all of y'all basically was sitting in the lunchroom together, and
No,
then
we had meetings that we had to attend in Raleigh,
Mhm.
um, like every 4 months. So you got to see everybody that were mediators, and it was like five of us there.
So you telling us that it's still going on?
Oh, I just moved back here in January of 2021. I mean, once Trump was in office, it really came out. What they'll hit you with is, when I was like, oh, so I've never been late, I've never been written up.
Hmm.
Why am I being fired? Oh, well, it's an at will state.
Hmm.
So I could have pursued it and filed a report to the Attorney General's office. It
Hmm.
wasn't worth it to me.
Wow.
It wasn't worth it to me.
So how long you carried that? You held that position,
I held that position for like 2 years.
and you was working with the chief judge and all that.
Yeah, I was working for the chief judges in 5 different counties, and it really was the one judge that I had to report to that was the issue.
Mm. Wow. So who they replace you with?
A white girl that's probably about 27, 28. Yep.
Did she had her master
Yeah,
and
she had to have a master's degree. Everybody had to have a master's degree.
besides your supervisor?
Right. Besides the supervisor was like the administrator for the judge.
Hmm.
And that's what I couldn't understand. Why was she my supervisor when the judge should have been my supervisor? But I guess he didn't want those responsibilities because judges come and go as they please. And if you got somebody that you got to supervise that's new, I mean, yeah, he could have had the young lady train me, but no, they made her my supervisor.
Wow. So what type of work you used to do?
Oh, I mediated domestic cases for visitation and custody
Hmm.
um, in the state of North Carolina. It's mandatory that everybody go through mediation, and it's only 2 states that is mandatory. That's North Carolina and California.
Wow. So only two states in the United States.
That mediation is mandatory.
Wow. So now, what are you going to do in Baltimore? Are you going to take uh, that same job title up here in Maryland?
No, in Maryland, I know in Baltimore City is one lady that does it, and I don't think she's going anywhere for another couple of years.
Mhm.
Um,
So it's kind of like hard to find them positions.
well, I did it for my own business
Mhm.
before I moved to Charlotte, and while I was in Charlotte, um, I would facilitate mediation with guys and their children's mom to see if they could work through something to come up with an agreement so they wouldn't have to go before a judge and the judge make the decision for them. Um, and if they did come up with an agreement, then I would put it in a writing and then they could give it to the lady that oversees mediation. And she
Right.
could just type it up under their letterhead and present it to the judge. So when they go before a judge, a decision has already been concluded with the two parties involved.
Wow. So what you think about the George Floyd case? Because up in up in Minnesota, I believe today they I think the other officers been indicted. You don't mediate stuff like that.
No, mm-mm. No, that's not domestic. That's criminal.
Right. The message is like when far as uh dealing
Child
with court.
support,
Now,
visitation, custody.
so you know what's happening in Minnesota now. I think one more officer been indicted. Did you keep up with that one yet?
Well, well, guess what? Chauvin is now being charged federal with a federal crime for the incident that he was involved in 2017 against a 14-year-old teenager,
Right,
where he choked him up and
right.
hit him in the head twice with a flashlight.
So he charges being up brought up with that one.
Yeah, under the federal guidelines. Remember, he just went before the state. Now he's getting federally charged for the previous situation.
So
Uh,
they can bring back up, even though no statute limitation on this.
well, because the Justice Department is involved, and that's why it's federal. They can open up the case because it was no charges brought against him at the state level at that time. And now that we see what he's done to George Floyd, it makes it all the more reason why you want to bring up things that he was accused of for misconduct and reinvestigate that.
So things can be brought up. Even though how many years ago that been?
That was 2017.
Oh, so that wasn't that long ago. Probably it didn't affect with the statute of limitation.
Well, remember, the Justice Department is opening this back up.
And they can do that whenever. It doesn't matter.
I'm not totally sure. I think when the fact that he's a police officer and there was misconduct with George Floyd,
Right.
it raises the alarm because it never was brought to the federal previous. It ended at the state level, so the federal opened it back up, and rightfully so.
So what about now? They also trying to get a retrial because they said one of the jurors was out with the protesters or something like that, and they trying to try the case all over. You hear anything about that?
Well, that's their grounds for appeal. Doesn't mean that they're
Yeah.
going to be granted the appeal. That's just what they have to file a motion, and they have to file a motion for an appeal, and that's why they use that as an excuse to be able to open the case back up. But we don't know whether that's going to be granted. An
Right.
appeal might not be granted.
Okay. So also tell us what you know anything, any word on what happened at Carroll Park in Baltimore City. It was allegedly was 6 people were shot in the park. One person died. You heard of
Yeah, on your live, I heard it, and then I later heard it on the news after you had already been there and reported it.
that? Okay. You said me, Uncut News been there?
Yeah, didn't you go to the
Yes,
you
I
went to the
did.
one side of the park and that wasn't the right side and they didn't know
Right,
what was going on. You drove around and
right,
then you saw the tape
right.
and you
I
reported
sure
it.
did. I received phone calls saying, Laura, you gotta go inside the park. Now, if I wouldn't got the phone call from that particular person, I would never went in the park because I thought it might have been a setup. Because sometimes, I be thinking things going to be set up for me. So I'm saying, well, I don't see nothing in the park. But it was a reliable source who sent me up in there. So when
Right.
I went up in there, and that's when I saw the yellow tape and the
Yeah.
police and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Also, later on, I believe, was it that same night or the next night when a girl was shot? 2 girls were shot in the car and they drove themselves to the hospital. I believe that was the next day.
Okay, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, on our Fremont in West Baltimore, Fremont. It supposed to have been 2 girls were shot, 2 ladies were shot in the car and they drove themselves. Well, one of them they drove themselves to the hospital and one of them died.
Ooh.
Stuff like this going on.
Yeah, they just Baltimore County, a young man had a minor car wreck on 795. I think it was I want to say November or December of
Oh, okay.
2020, and but his body was found 250 yards away on the other side of the
Wow.
road. And so it's been the family is questioning like how is it still open? Why? And what's going on? Like what happened to her son. And the police are saying that after he crashed, he might have ran across 795 and something hanging off a car might have struck him in the head because of the way his body was laid out. It does look like something would have struck him, but I don't know. It's still questionable. So they're still trying to investigate and find answers to that situation.
Man.
I know I was reading in Windsor Mill, it was five murders in
No.
in April in Windsor Mill area. I'm sorry, 5 shootings and 2 people died in the Windsor Mill area.
Oh man.
I
So
was like, really?
five shootings and 2 people died in the Windsor Mill.
Yes,
Was
yes.
this on the news? Because I didn't
No,
see
I read this in our little local
community
newspaper.
paper.
Yeah, the community newspaper.
I said this yesterday or the day before yesterday when I heard that the guy was found at that bus stop, St. Luke's and Liberty Road.
Hmm.
Why did the news don't like to put things out in Baltimore County? Why? What's going on? Why they like to keep a hush hush?
Well, after I read that article, I went down to the Woodlawn District
Hmm.
and I spoke to Captain Orlando Lilly.
Right.
Excuse me.
Captain Orlando Lilly. That's a man.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Um, I went to college with him. And in the article, it said that he was a captain. And I remember when we went to college, he was an officer in Woodlawn District.
Is he black?
Yes, he's only one of 2 black captains in Baltimore County.
He got a bald head. I think I might have met
Yes,
him. Okay.
very dark
Right.
skin.
Yeah, I met him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was up at the when you went with Christina Flowers in Baltimore County and she spoke about
Yeah.
homelessness,
Right.
he got up and spoke.
How you know you was in North Carolina?
I was watching you. I
Wait a
was
minute.
watching you. You videotaped it, and
Yeah.
that's how I saw it.
Oh my
And
goodness.
that's when I found out that my friend was a captain,
Wow.
but he just came to the Woodlawn District in January. So, like I said, I read the article. I went down there to talk to him because I had been having issues with
Right.
this juvenile delinquent center that's up here on Rolling Road that I had no idea existed.
Wait a minute. Rolling road. Oh, I'm gonna tell you something about this after you get your everything out. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
gonna tell
so
you about
so
that.
I had no idea that existed. I
Right.
saw the little
They live in there.
houses.
That's where
I
they
never
live at.
knew what it was.
Yeah. It's a
It's been
college.
there for years.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you about that one.
Okay, so I had been having problems with them jumping my fence and cutting through.
Oh my goodness. Let me tell you about this. That's what they did.
They kicked my fence in
Yes.
when the house was empty. They kicked my fence in. I had just had that put up. I had caught one of them on camera cutting through my yard. So I called the police. I filed a police report. So I went down there to talk to him about it. Now, ironically, the last 2 months I hadn't seen those kids out there. They would harass people at the stores. They'd be asking people for money,
They jumped
lying,
out my
saying that
taxi down St. Mary County. But let me tell you after you finish, it was over
okay.
$250 and ran.
Wow.
Oh, go ahead, finish. I'll tell you about what.
So or Captain Orlando Lilly, like I said, one of 2 black captains in the whole Baltimore County Police Department. He said that, he had recently gone over to
Oh,
that facility.
in the whole Baltimore County.
Yes, there's only 2 black captains in the whole Baltimore County. Um,
That's
and
good.
he had said that he had gone to talk to the people over there at that facility. and apparently it has done some good because I haven't seen those kids.
Well, that's good. So let me tell you
Yes.
what they did to me. Now, why am I lights coming out? Wait a minute. This is my. I'm gonna tell you what happened to me. I'm having a bad day. Now, just let me just take this off. All right, this should be on purpose. Okay, what happened? This was about maybe I'm gonna say about 8 years ago. There were three girls. They looked like teenagers. They looked like in their 20s, right? Um, they was at a party sitting on somebody's steps. So they called the cab to go to St. Mary County, right? And so I pulled up to the house. I think it was on Wild Cherry Road or something. I pulled up to the house. They were sitting on the steps. They get in the cab. They was makeup on and everything. I thought they was grown kids, right? And they went to St. Mary County. That was like 2.5 hours away from Baltimore, you know. So they get in the cab. I went down there. They jumped out and ran. So I said, "Oh my goodness!" So I went to they left the pocket. One of them left their pocketbook in the cab. So I looked in it and I took it to the gas station, and I asked the people, "Do y'all know these people?" And they said, "Yeah." I told them to call the police. I think a sheriff came because in St. Mary County, I think they sheriffs and stuff run. So they said, "How you get the pocketbook?" I said, "He left it in the cab." They probably thought that I took the pocketbook from the people, right? So anyway, they knew the people. They was bad trouble people from that place. What you were saying, right? So I
Uh-huh.
pulled all the way back up here, and the next day I went to the place, and nothing they can do. They ain't even pay me much. It was $250. They ain't even paid for it or nothing. So yes, that's what they did with me about 5 to 7 years ago.
Yeah, they say that, oh well, we're not responsible. Yes, you are responsible. You're
That's
getting
what
a
they
check
said.
for them every month.
That's what they said to me.
You are responsible for them, and I'm assuming that when Captain Lilly went down there to speak to them, he must have told them, what the real deal was, because apparently those kids are in check. You don't see them anymore, and
Okay.
you don't
What's
see
that?
them anymore. And
Uh-huh.
he must have told them, that they could be sued or something, because
Oh
as long as they getting a check for them kids, they responsible for
man, and I ain't even see if I knew if they would have called the cab from that place, I would
them.
never pick them up because we knew that they was minors. But
Right,
they was sitting on somebody else's stuff like they was coming from a party. I mean, I didn't know. I know they jumped out and ran.
right,
It was about three of them. Right, and the police said that they was police. Somebody got killed down with Dahmer. I don't know, but I heard allegedly news break that someone was this allegedly down something happened down with Dahmer Mall not too long ago. So I don't know. They said somebody was allegedly. I like to get my facts together, folks. So
right.
y'all might get some breaking news down with Dahmer Mall. What's happening? But yeah, it's something. So now that we know that we have two African American captains, and he took care of that, so that
Yeah,
was cool.
yeah, and he's very passionate about this district, because this is full circle for him. I was like, yeah, it's full circle for you, buddy. You started here in Woodlawn. He's been
Right.
1993, 94-ish. He's been a police officer.
Okay. Yeah, I know who you're talking about now. I think we took a picture together or something. I don't know, but yeah, he was pretty cool.
Oh, he
Yep.
is very down to earth,
Yep. All right.
very approachable. He's from
Right.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Wow. Okay.
He's from
That's
North Carolina.
when the mayor, what they call it, not the mayor, Baltimore County, what they call executive. That's when the executive was there. What's his name? Johnny O's.
Yeah, Johnny O. He's from North
Johnny O's.
Carolina.
No, Johnny O's was there that day when we was there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
Okay, got
came, I came there to record Johnny O's in that event because I knew he was coming.
it.
So
Yeah,
we came there to meet Johnny O's and talk to him. But that was interesting. You watched that, huh?
I did.
So you be seeing that uncut news all over the place, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad
That's
you
how
be
I
following.
met you because I came up here, and I had gathered some things from my mom's house,
I
and I
remember.
like bedspreads and stuff, and I brought them down to you and Miss Flowers.
Yeah, when we was downtown, that was so nice of you, all the way from North Carolina. We were so
Well,
happy.
no, I had to come up here to
But,
Maryland, and the stuff was here in Maryland.
well, you still was watching me down North Carolina,
Yeah, absolutely.
and you said, "Hey, I'm Lisa
Lisa
from North
Lee.
Carolina." Lisa Lee, yeah, I remember. And it's interesting how you work with the chief judge and all these big time people, that down in North Carolina. It's
Yeah,
not what
but I
you know.
also I also worked at the judiciary branch of in Washington D.C. in the 90s. I'm
See,
sorry, in the early 2000s.
see, you know the system. You could be a judge.
No, I could be a lawyer if I
Okay,
if I really wanted to, but no, I'm good.
and guess what? I know who you admire too.
No, I more or less admire his brother.
I know who you admire.
No,
J.
Wendell Gordon.
Wendell Gordon.
No, I admire his brother, Jeff Gordon. Hello.
No, because you came all the way from North Carolina the time when we was in that courtroom,
Right. I wanted to see that case.
right? And that was
Absolutely.
nice. That was wonderful. You came. What case was
It
they
was
on?
a female officer that was run over by the juvenile delinquents that had stolen that Jeep.
Right,
And I went to every day of that
right.
trial.
And we was there for 2 weeks. Remember?
Yeah, I wanted to see the oh yeah.
I know. And I learned a lot of. Well, we learned a lot of stuff when we was in there. Remember when J. Wendell Gordon was going against the FBI when he said that when you got a cell phone, if you're doing a crime, the ping come off the first ping. And Jay Wendell Gordon said, no. He said, was you there? How you know? He said, well, the statistic says it's supposed to come off the first ping. And Jay Wendell Gordon said, no, well, if it don't come off the first ping, it'll come off the next satellite. Is that true? And then the FBI said, yes. So he said, so you telling the jury, the ladies of the jurors, that this come off of this ping and this way it was at? He said, no, you right. So Jay Wendell Gordon, I remember that he went up against the FBI and had the FBI to turn the story around because he wasn't there. So he don't know if the guy was there or not because if it don't come off the first satellite, it can ping off the second one. That's how I found out that if you have a cell phone committing a crime, you know, the battery can be out or whatever, it still got a satellite where it can ping off the first satellite, if not that one, the closest one in the area. Remember that case he was arguing with the FBI about?
When you a lawyer, you don't care who you debate, long as you debating the facts.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying. I learned a lot in them 2 weeks. Even though my last day, I got a ticket on my car.
I remember you did. Um,
It was a
it was a
ticket,
parking ticket,
a parking ticket. And I
and
didn't
and
had my
Gordon
press
parked
badge.
in the garage. I went out to feed my meter.
But I had a press badge in my window.
It
And they
didn't
still
matter
gave
in
me a ticket.
Baltimore County, apparently.
I know. I had to pay for that. I ain't paid that ticket in a long time, but when I went and got my tags for my new car, that's hindered it. They said
Yeah,
I
they
had to pay
flagged it.
everything. Huh?
They flagged it.
Right. Even though if you got another car, if you owe for one car, you can't get nothing for both cars.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because they flagged that car, but it'll flag everything. So I had to pay everything off. Tickets. points, everything. I ain't getting no points, but I'm just saying. But
Right.
yeah, Lisa, I'm so proud of you. You know,
Thank
I
you.
feel so special just knowing you.
You think so? You do.
I do feel special. It's an
I
honor to
appreciate
know
that.
you. It's
I
it's an
appreciate
honor
that.
because see, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and a lot of people don't understand that. Just like you work with the chief judges and stuff like that, right? I even know another judge downtown, Chief Lauren Garrett.
I know him.
Yeah.
I
So
knew him when I was 18.
you did.
Uh-huh.
Now he's a chief judge of the Orford Court.
Of the orphan court. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Because you had given me his number to reach out to him.
oh
Um, yeah, I knew you knew him. Yep.
yeah. So guess what? He the one who told me to look out for J. Wendell Gordon. And,
Oh, okay.
and that's how I became friends with him because I knew Chief Judge Lauren Garrett, and he was saying, I look out for this man, bring him on your show anytime you want to. This is a good man, it's my friend, bam. And ever since then, for the last 10 or 15 years or so, I've been rolling with him. And I've been like, you know,
Follow his cases. The warrior lawyer.
yeah, he the man. And he also told me why he got that name, the Warrior Lawyer. Do you remember?
No.
Okay, remember the shotgun bandit? When you go to the gas station, his son and the father used to look
Muhammad.
up. Yeah.
Mhm.
So he was his attorney, both of their attorney, Jay Wendell Gordon, right? So the father, who they put to sleep, the father told Jay Wendell Gordon, "You are the warrior lawyer." So that's why
Really?
he's been calling. That's why he's been going by the warrior lawyer because of what's his name?
Muhammad.
Muhammad. He told him that he's a lawyer, the warrior lawyer. But I
Oh.
interviewed Jay Wendell Gordon, and he told me that story.
Oh, okay.
But now you know. That's why they
Now I
call him.
know.
That's why
Cause
they call him the warrior lawyer.
yeah, him and his brothers come on Wednesday at 7 called Brotherly Love.
I love that show.
Yeah.
I told him I love that show. You know, because that is wonderful. Brotherly love, you know,
And they talk about different topics like this.
right. And you see the Zoom going in and out like that.
Yeah. And they
Yeah,
had special guests on there.
right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I found a picture of me and Garner mother. Now, Garner, was that the one in New York that they choked
Yes.
him for the cigarettes?
Yes.
I found a picture of me and his mother I took with her while she came to Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
I reposted. Yeah. What they do with that case? It's just like,
Oh, I
did
don't
the
think
police
so.
get
I think
time?
that one officer, he lost his job.
He didn't get convicted for that.
I don't think he I don't think he got convicted. I think he walked on that term, but he appealed to get his job back. But no, yeah, he
Wow.
lost his job.
Right. Do you think the now that what's going on and throughout the United States or the world, how police officer is doing things like this to people? Do you think they're gonna ever stop and just do the right thing?
Well,
I mean, I
we the
know,
only state, Maryland's the only state with police reform. So, let's hope that other states follow suit. That's just the beginning. I mean, that way you don't have police policing each other. You
but I
had
think
civilians
uh
overseeing police misconduct.
I believe that it will change. I believe by these officers getting convicted and doing time, I believe that they're going to stop and semi do the right thing. I know
I
not
think
all,
if their pension is affected, if you can sue them for their pension,
but
then
no, I
then
think
that'll make a difference.
jail
Huh?
jail time will do it too.
Yeah, jail time will do it too, but everybody ain't gonna convict the police officer, unfortunately, whether they guilty or not guilty. Everybody not gonna do it.
Mm, wow,
I'm all about right is right and wrong is wrong.
right.
no matter who did what. I'm about the truth.
Well, I know that you was on here the week before last, and about that case about the officer shot that that girl about the knife situation. Did you do a follow up and see how that case going?
Yeah, I listened to Roland Martin, Unfiltered, and they did a whole story about it. And I said, man, I wish I'd have listened to this before I did your show because I got a little bit more insight.
Can
Um,
you share that with us?
yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was that.
Roland Martin, I met him.
Okay, so the huh?
I met Roland Martin at Morgan one day.
Oh, did you?
Hmm.
Yeah, they said that the young lady was in foster care for 3 years, 4 years, and her mother was supposed to be taking some classes
Hmm.
for a reunification, which is to bring the child back into the home. And I guess the mother had to take some anger management classes or something. Whatever the situation was, it wasn't where the child did something wrong, and that's why she was in foster care. It was the parent. I think the parent was abusive,
Oh, okay.
and she didn't take these classes, so she never was able to get her kids out of foster care, um, because she didn't comply with what the court's mandates were. And
Hmm.
they had they were going to strip her of her parental rights, but when COVID hit, the courts closed, so the court date was coming up. So now, with the situation that we have at hand, that the young lady is now deceased, now the mother can sue the police department and have financial gain for the loss of her child, but you really didn't want your child because you didn't comply with taking these classes.
Hmm.
They were going to strip of her parental rights. The little girl was happy; she was flourishing in the foster care home that she was in, and it's just a lot. Just to give you background on the
Right.
parents and the child and the foster care, not so much as the police situation. We've already covered that,
Hmm.
but the
No,
little
I
girl.
was just saying. I was just saying. Was any news on that? Did they charge the police? Or could they charge them? Stuff like that. But I'm glad you brought that up as far as the background of the parents. But now, have anything happened to the officer?
Not that I
About
know
that?
of as of yet.
Okay.
They still doing their investigation, and stuff like that takes time. That
Right.
doesn't just happen overnight. So, it's a homicide, not a homicide, but when you do homicide investigations, it takes time.
Right.
They
So
got to get all these statements together for all the people that was out there, the other officers that was out there, because this is another thing. It was 3 or 4 officers out there before the shooting officer had even arrived on the scene.
oh
So
really?
yes, that's the other point. It was 3 or 4 officers on the scene already. He pulls up and reacts to what he sees in terms of her lunging with the knife. The other officers hadn't tased anybody. The other officers hadn't pulled their guns out. He got out of the car and reacted to what he saw immediately. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying he's right, but that was what I had learned listening to Roland Martin, that there was 3 or 4 other officers on the scene prior to the shooting officer arriving.
Wow. Well, did you hear about the woman officer grabbed the taser to the gun? I thinking what it was she had the gun, but she thought she
Yeah,
had a taser.
yeah, we had talked about that 2 weeks ago. The taser, taser,
Nothing
taser.
else. Nothing else happening.
No, no more updates on that one.
Updates. That's right. That's what I wanted to hear. No more updates
No
on it.
more updates on that one.
Wow. So what do you think? What's going on in America?
I think, you know, we need to have more conversations about racism.
Hmm.
because folks that have never been discriminated against can't understand those that have been discriminated against. They can't they can't empathize because they've never experienced it. Now, some can sympathize, they can feel your pain, but they can't empathize because they never experienced it. And I think we need to have more conversations in regards to racism and discrimination,
Right.
so that we can do better do
Okay.
better as Americans, as human beings, period. I mean, that situation with the Asian women that was closing up their liquor store.
Oh yeah, that's happened on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah, and the guy beat the women with the center blocks. That was
Oh,
horrible.
yeah. Wait a minute. Now, hold up. I hope that wasn't the same time when I was riding down Pennsylvania Avenue and I saw this man running out and he was banging with us, banging, banging, banging. I don't know if that was a liquor store or not. Now, do you know where this liquor store at? Did they catch it? Was it an old
Oh,
man?
no, he was 50 years old.
And after that, did he walk out the store and left? What happened in that case?
They found him after he left.
Wait a minute. Don't tell me that was the same person that, oh my God, I hope that wasn't because I was on, I heard something that boom, bam, bam, bam. And it seemed like the guy was in there um, banging a wall. And then he left out and was walking down the street. It was the older guy. I thought he was a homeless person. So,
He probably was an alcoholic. That's why he wanted them to serve him.
oh my God. And they
But
say,
see, it was another guy. It was another guy that had just been waited on, and
he left out.
no, he was getting out of the way of the man doing what he was doing to the women. He was like, "You know how we do. I ain't got nothing to do with me. Let me go about my business."
God, I hope that wasn't a store that because I was riding down Pennsylvania Avenue, coming from coming from North Avenue, halfway down on the left hand side, where that's the liquor store.
I'm
Oh, you
not
don't
sure.
know, man. I heard something say boom, 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 and then the man came out. Oh my God! I hope. So what happened? They said somebody beat the woman with a cinder block.
Two of them, and that other woman was she was fighting back. She was fighting back. The man probably was drunk.
Oh my God! Mhm. So things like this happening here.
Yeah, and it's horrible. It's horrible that they going after Asian people. Why?
Hmm.
I don't get it.
Um, and also, they cleared the homeless people out of 83.
I saw that on Christine Flowers live.
So let me give Christine Flowers her kudos, whatever you call it. I mean, it was so great because the
Mhm.
time that when I was down there, because me and Ringo was like riding around the city trying to feed homeless people, and we found that encampment. And Christine Flowers, she did an amazing job, man. I don't give nobody say. Look, one thing, Christine Flowers, homeless people listen to her. If y'all hear me or don't, I mean, she know how to deal with mental illness, whatever y'all say. But she can know how to deal with homeless people. Now I was riding with her for like 9 years,
Mhm.
9 winters. So I know that one day this homeless person was out in the wintertime with no coat on. Me and her would drive around giving blankets to homeless people. We stopped the car. I had the blanket. She picked this homeless person up because he was laying out there, spit up all over his face. She wiped the spit up from his face with a towel. um, you know, gave him a blanket offer to take him to a house and all that. So I know her heart. Her heart is there.
Right.
So for her, how she cares and love these homeless people like that, it's amazing. So I
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
gotta give her props.
Yeah, because I had gone down there to take some personal items for women, sanitary napkins, tampons, soap,
Mm,
um, and I put them all. I had all of these makeup bags and different little carry bags, so
mm.
they could feel like this is mine. I got something personal,
Oh, that
little
was
personal items, and so I took probably about 9 or 10 of them down there. And
right.
I went right up under the bridge because I knew that's where the homeless people were. And
Hmm.
I pulled up and I told Christine to come over. I got something for the ladies. And she said, it's no more ladies down there. I got them all in the hotel rooms, but
Hmm.
I'm going to give them to them. And I felt so good that the
Right.
women, she got the women off the street,
Right.
and she was diligently working hard. Every morning she come on
I know.
and I see her live, and I'm just so happy somebody cares enough.
Man, I'm telling you, she cares.
Yeah, she's
And
in the
she
trenches.
see now I've been working with her and I know her heart. And I know her diligence, right? Now, check this out. She'll take them off the street and put them in, but she can't keep them in there. A lot of homeless people not going to want to stay put. They want to come back out. But she keep on giving the same homeless people chance after chance till they click in. Now, some of us might say, I tried 2 and 3 times and you still ain't doing nothing. I'm gonna give up on you. She would not give up. She won't give up on the homeless people. She can try and try for 20 times and she gonna keep trying 21 times and they're finally gonna click in. So
Yeah,
I give her props.
yeah, she does. They listen to her. They respect her.
Right.
Miss Flowers can be misunderstood, but like you say, her heart. And
Right.
and when you can look past what your perception of somebody is, and you see that they have a big heart and they're trying to help other people, you
Hmm.
you let that go, and you just like, hey, you don't take things personal, because Christina Flowers can come across harsh. I can come across harsh,
Right. Right.
but you got to look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that she's out there to help people um, get stable,
Right.
get a
Right.
clean place to sleep, a
Hmm.
hot meal. Yeah, they got habits of, yes, you got a cigarette. She give them a cigarette because
Oh,
you
I
know
know.
what? It's
Power
her
pack
heart. She got
cigarette.
a
I
big
know.
heart,
She do.
and I appreciate her big heart.
Right. But I appreciate it too. Because like I said, it's times that we've been together and we've been like, knowing what's going on out there.
Yeah.
So then we run it down to the wire. We have about 5 minutes. Uh, then put out your resume just in case somebody might say, you know what, Lisa Lee, I really love what you do. Put out your resume so somebody can contact you, Miss Lisa.
Yeah, I have. I'm actually here in Maryland now, and I haven't started work. I'm actually looking for work. So, I mean, my background is a legal specialist. I've had my own business for 11 years, doing domestic cases, expungements, Social Security disability appeals, because I worked at Social Security as a legal specialist in
Uh,
North Carolina and in Baltimore. I have a master's degree in psychology, human services, counseling psychology, a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, associate's degree in criminal justice. I've worked as a federal investigator. I worked in the mental health field as well as substance abuse. So that's what my background is.
okay. And put your number out there so we can call you up.
Uh,
How can somebody find you?
they can reach out to you, and then you reach out to me.
All right, y'all. 443-839-8412. 443 839-8412. Recently, I love your spirit. And like I said, it's an honor just to know someone like you.
I
For
appreciate
real.
that. I appreciate that because I remember when I was coming back up here, I got in touch with you and you put me in touch with Mr. McNutt
Yeah.
for
I,
a analyst position.
yeah.
And that didn't come through. He did not follow up on the things that he said he was going to do. And I spoke to him, Dr. McNutt, as a matter of fact, and I spoke to him on two occasions. I was definitely qualified, maybe overqualified for the position. But I think, like most companies that are starting up, what they'll do is they'll gather resumes. And when they put out a proposal, they'll say, okay, so we have all of these people and show you on paper. Oh, we have all these people working for us, get the contract, and then they hire who they want to hire.
Ooh-wee. Did you do that at me? Did you throw your hand and throw your head like that? I saw that. I saw you. Well, folks, I thank y'all so much. And next week, we will have some more people coming from different states, California, Chicago, you name it. So we like to thank this broadcast. Donnie Glover, he's the man. Be more news.
No,
Much
I
more.
think I joined when I was on the last time. I think I
Uh-huh.
joined on Facebook,
Right.
but I haven't seen anything pop up.
Yeah. Well, blackusa.com is got it going on. All right.
What's his Facebook page?
blackusa.com.
No, that's
And
not a Facebook
the,
page.
the Facebook page is Donnie Glover.
Oh, okay. That's why
Yeah, be
okay.
more news. Be more news.
Donnie Glover.
Yeah. And go to bemorenews.com. News before the news. Yeah. So I'd like to thank Donnie for, allowing me to have this platform on Fridays and talk to the world. That's
Okay.
nice, you know.
Okay. So he comes on the Donnie Glover show comes on Sunday at 3:30 a.m.
You
on
watching the
my
Donnie?
TV.
Huh?
On my TV.
Okay.
Yeah. Donnie Glover show Sundays at 3:30 a.m. Set your DVRs on my TV.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pull them up and do on demand and
Right.
listen to him and see what he got going on at his show.
And then you also can go to bemorenews.com.
Right.
Yeah. News before the news. So
Okay.
we like to stay on track and like I said, folks, the Love Doctor show tonight, 10 to 2 in the morning. That's you don't know nothing about the Love Doctor, the Doctor Love show.
You've been
You
talking about the Dr. Love show.
I've been on there. So the Black USA dot news. There you go. That's it. The
Okay.
Black USA dot
Dot
news.
news. Okay.
Mhm. So yeah, I'll be on tonight from 10 to 2.
You was
The
on
Love
last
Doctor.
night from 10 to 2, right?
I know. It was over like 3,000 people on there.
Yeah, I heard you talking about it earlier.
Oh yeah.
What's going on with Mackenzie? She didn't have a good time on the bus today? She said somebody was mean?
She said the bus driver was mean. I'm gonna have to see what's happening.
No, you keep my baby off of that bus.
Okay. All right. Y'all heard it first on Uncut News. Have a great day. Well, we talk. All right.
Okay.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. See you next time.